Hello there, welcome back to the channel where we talk about all things VTuber. And today we will be talking about the Nexas VTuber agency, who has decided to debut 27 VTuber talents within 3 days. And this video will be going through what Nexas is, its growth philosophy, its CEO's childish response to criticism online, where Harry, the CEO of Nexas, came from, where he got his money to start his VTuber agency, and what the VTuber community thinks of Nexas. Overall, the perception towards Nexas as a VTuber agency has been negative. The main issue is Nexas is debuting too many VTuber talents at once. Usually, people expect the VTuber agency to debut VTuber generations every few months. This is meant to give the VTuber generation time to breathe, time to grow, time to gain some footing, some stability before the next generation of VTubers come along. People usually check out 1 or 2 VTubers when they debut as a generation. No one has time to check out all 27 VTubers when they're all debuting around the same time. What made things even worse for the Nexus VTuber debut was the VTubers wouldn't be debuting on YouTube or Twitch. Instead, they would all be debuting on Anilive, which is a new app that you can't even access online. You need to download 2 apps in order to access the Anilive app. First, you would need to get the Test Flight app from the iOS App Store, and this is a beta testing app, before going back to the email they sent you to download the Anilive app, because you can't download the Anilive app from the iOS App Store directly, because it's still in closed alpha. This lowers the amount of people who are able to check out the VTuber debuts. Many people didn't like Nexus and their direction, and many were complaining about it. Some would say, 27 debuts on an Apple-only app. Not only are you making your talents compete for their debut, but you're cutting out the majority of viewers. Even people who do have Apple will be skeptical about downloading an unknown app to watch a debut for people they don't know. Converting followers from one platform to another one, a trusted and known one as well, is already difficult. I can't imagine the conversion rate to an Apple-only brand new app. I wish the talents well. I'm sure they're super excited and have worked really hard, but I don't think this was really fair to them. Another user would say, okay, so I don't see this going well. Popular VTubers lose people just by switching platforms. You're asking people to dedicate 16 hours across 3 days to find someone they like. This as an agency without a reputation, on a non-easily accessible app without a reputation. Can you even articulate a pro? They would say, I feel bad for these talents. They deserve better than to have their time wasted competing with themselves. Not to mention all the artists' efforts that invested into this project. What a weird Hunger Games-esque business model. You deserve to fail. The Anilive app is not even available on Android. Pat 4chan, a very popular VTuber, would say, 27 talents in 3 days. They looked over at Niji and said, not fast enough. Another user would say, 27 talents debuting over 3 days. Has their own exclusive app not available on any app store. You have to go through it to watch them. Owner acts like a teen about criticism, doomed to fail. The user Lex Parte would say, bruh. The CEO of the Nexus VTuber agency, Harry, did not take kindly to criticism. He would say, let's go. Getting criticism is a good sign that we're doing a new basic thing that people can't understand. Our true battle starts here. Harry, the CEO of the controversial VTuber agency Nexus, would say, I will go and poke all the people who want to criticize Nexus just because you see the number of talents and a new platform. You'll never know what we're working on, and I won't forgive people who just want to be a blocker of industry growth. The clipper Azehara would respond by saying, looking at other corpos, rapid-firing talents is usually a good business practice as it generates hype. That said, this particular business relies on public support and forming a connection with the talents. If you prop up so many talents, the audience to talent link will not be as strong. Once you start to chew out and spit the least popular ones to the side, I can assure you, you won't get too far. People are tired of corpos doing this, and I can assure you that it will backfire. Even your popular talents will get flack from it once you start throwing the others off to the side. Cyber Saiyan would say, VTuber Battle Royale is an evolution of the Niji strategy, but that only worked because the market was new and untapped at the time. Most existing VTuber fans won't move platforms in this market, so you'll need to create an entirely new audience from scratch. Good luck with that. A user by the name of Higgslock would say something that would get the CEO's attention, saying, I can't help but feel like you're setting up the talents for failure with this. Having 27 debuts at pretty much the same time is actually insane. This is going to turn into a battle royale of talents, having to fight against each other for viewership. You're competing with yourself. The CEO of Nexus didn't take kindly to Higgslock's statement, saying glad to get a criticism from a dummy account with 0 followers. The CEO would then apologize, saying, "Hi Higslock, please allow me to apologize for what I just said here. Although what we're trying is different from other agencies, our goal is and always will be to help our talents be successful. I just didn't want any negative impressions of our talents, as they worked very hard and long to make this happen. However, this does not justify what I said. I'd appreciate it if you could accept my apology, and I hope you still consider supporting our talents, as I would love for you to see what they have worked on. Thank you." We had users responding to the CEO's apology saying, it's a ChatGPT message. Another would say, "Homie really wants to fail." The CEO would continue antagonizing the users on the internet who are trying to criticize the company before apologizing again. S1 would say, 27 debuts across 3 days on an obscure proprietary app that requires you to sign up for it by filling out a Google Doc form. I've seen much better business plans fail horribly. This is cruel." The CEO would respond by saying, "What's your business plan? You'll never know what we're up to." S1 would reply saying, "Do you want a serious on-the-fly answer? This is going to take a few tweets. You should launch on an existing platform, honestly, YouTube or Twitch, as a proper group, with few enough streamers that people might actually remember them all, setting up first wave collabs, 6 max. If you want the hook to stand out, while a focus on vertical streaming is a plus, the lack of accessibility isn't a good one. Find something original that's actually positive. 3. The Battle Royale environment you're rumored to be doing, if true, will drastically discourage future applicants and bring bad PR, which is another disadvantage to your model. Again, start with a reasonable amount." Harry, the CEO of Nexus, would say, "Thank you for your amazing plan. Good luck with your business." S1 would retort by saying, "I think not losing money would make mine win by default, to be honest." The CEO would apologize to this user, saying, "Please allow me to apologize for how I reacted in this thread." S1 would say, wow, woke up to 87 notifications and this, what the fuck? Dude, if you do right financially by the streamers and staff you signed up for this, then there will be no need to apologize to anyone, least of all to me. I didn't take whatever you said personally in the first place." We had a user responding to S1 saying and implying that the CEO was using ChatGPT to apologize. Whether or not this is true will be up for debate. Moving on, we talk about Seren. This VTuber claims to have passed the auditions to enter Nexus but chose to drop out. Seren has chose to divulge insider information regarding Nexus. Seren would say, "I want to give my 2 cents on this as someone that passed the first wave of recent auditions and dropped out. I know some Nexus members are following and I love you. I truly wish you the best of luck, and I'll try my best to support your debuts. That being said, some things that set off my red flag radar were, you are required to stream 5 days a week, 2 hours each time. The CEO straight up says if you live a lifestyle that doesn't allow this, you shouldn't join. It really rubs me off the wrong way to force your initial wave of talents to invest this much time and energy and possibly money by quitting their job/education for an agency and platform that has no reputation yet. Nexus has no personalized management. Individual talents don't get managers or advice. Instead, Nexus works as a school where a group of people get educated all at once on the basics of content creation. At that point, I see no reason for established content creators to join. New ones, sure, but once again, we go back to the first point, which is, why force new VTubers to invest this much time? You are encouraged to stream off of the Anilive app to garner a large audience. So on top of streaming 5 days, 40 hours on the required app, you now have to spend more time and effort promoting yourself on other platforms because they are aware it's the best way to garner an audience. What? The obvious red flag being that Nexus plans on debuting 100 talents. Holy shit, if that ain't a battle royale, may the best VTuber rise to the top type shit, I don't know what it is. Working off of that, you get rewarded based off your performance, but if you do poorly, you get less access to resources and help. Remember how people don't get personalized management? It really is just skill issue for these talents. I'm still going to keep tabs and support the talents because they deserve it, but I think this kind of business model should always warrant discussing and for us to share our criticisms. Content creation is a very serious place and we want to make sure the talent signing up for agencies won't be mistreated. Seren would go on to say, the agency actually has a lot of corporate backing, so a lot of investors. They are paying for every model as of right now it seems. However, the only upside I see in joining is, if you're entirely new to streaming and you want to learn the basics super fast, but to do it under an agency name feels like they are being taken advantage of for that. We had another Nexus insider giving us information about what happens within Nexus. This is expert it's full. Someone who chose to go on to Reddit to explain what was happening inside of Nexus. Edit. Establishing flaws that made me reconsider going forward with Nexus. As someone who got past screening and did an interview, none of this was established to me even in the 20-minute long video they sent me to tell me about the agency. Streaming on other platforms isn't ideal for them as they want to primarily focus on Anilive. So basically it's okay but not encouraged. You're stuck with the app if you want them to even focus on you. Mind you, they also didn't tell anyone that Anilive was iOS only. They only said it was just an app and focused on just chatting. And if we couldn't conform to that, then we could leave or weren't fit for Nexus. Regarding the 27 VTuber debuts, I only found out about it today. I was very hyped and my concerns were high. I was hoping they were just showing off the talents and not debuting all 27 of them at once. But wow, I almost want to laugh. But I mainly feel upset for these talents, even the ones coming to the defense of the CEO. They truly don't know that this is horrible for them. The Nexus insider would continue by saying in the interview it was basically just a rundown of Nexus, but no intricate details on how they'd run it. You don't get a manager either. This is all self-management. So it's a battle royale, but you aren't even given a weapon. More shady parts of Nexus started coming to light. Tammy, a VTuber, revealed that Nexus actually approached her because they wanted to make merchandise of her model for free without compensating her. Tammy would say, "Sketch AF company. Anilive approached me to have me at their booth at Offkai. Made it sound like a MNG, but wouldn't give me any info on what this gig entails and kept pushing to discuss details in a Discord call. I refused and kept asking questions until they flat out said they want to make merch of me but without compensation, other than the exposure. I just want to say, Tammy is referring to Anilive, which is a separate company from Nexus. I think Tammy is confusing Anilive with Nexus because Nexus is only streaming on Anilive as of this moment, so her beef is with Anilive and not Nexus. We return to Harry, the Nexas CEO, as he talks about some future tips for auditioning. There was one thing that stuck out to me when I was reading this long-ass tweet longer. At one point, Harry would say any applicants who discovered the audition via Twitter but failed to follow Nexus accounts on Twitter are perceived as lacking passion. He told me VTuber would respond to the applicants who failed to follow Nexus's accounts often get perceived as lacking passion words from the CEO. He told me he would say, "I feel like that's an odd way of thinking about it. Whenever I audition, I don't follow the relevant account specifically because I want to upkeep the privacy of the audition process. Saying that not following an account makes you less passionate is disheartening when some people do it to make it less obvious they are interested in joining the agency, especially when it's Gen 1 audition, so it's more obvious they are following for that and not for the other content." Next up, we take a look at the investors who have invested in Nexus. Some of the investors who has chosen to back Nexus include Yuzuru Honda, the founder of Freakout Holdings, who has also invested in Anycolor, the parent company of Nousagi. Now we have Takehiro Hayashi, the co-CEO of Heroes, who has investments in Cover Corp, the parent company of Hololive. We have Yuichi Soejima, founder of Well Played Resist Inc., and a former executive producer at Active 8, a company involved with Kizuna Ai. Other investors of Nexus include Kazuhide Hashida, founder of Paraichi Inc., Takumi Okoshi, CEO of Angel Round, as well as Shinichiro Sada, CMO of All Inc., a virtual talent agency. I'm sure after hearing all the negative criticisms and feedback and the childish CEO throwing tantrums on social media, you're all curious to know, what was the CEO thinking when he chose to launch Nexus? Why launch a VTuber battle royale that's doomed to fail? Well, you're in luck because Nexus has put out this explainer detailing their growth strategy as well as their thoughts about the VTuber industry. So let's have a look at the Nexus philosophy. And oh look, we have Harry introducing himself. I'm Harry, the founder of Nexus. Thank you for your interest in Nexus's first audition. Harry would detail what Nexus does and what a virtual talent academia means for Nexus. Harry would choose to explain the VTuber industry through this image, which has mistakes. Through this graphic, Harry alleges that big stars are born before big agencies are born. This is obviously false, because he alleges that Gagura, Pekora, and Kuzuha, as well as Kizuna Ai, were born before Hololive and Nousagi, which is completely wrong. First off, he didn't even spell Gagura correctly. He spelled Gar with an L. which is wrong. Second of all, most of the first VTubers were born from VTuber agencies. Kizuna Ai was born from a corporation. Gagura, Pecora, they were debuted by Hololive. Nijisaji debuted Kuzuha. Traditionally, VTubers debuted through large corporations. You can see a lot of red flags in the CEO's explanation right here. There's even more to come. In this explanation, Harry would explain the type of streamer that is successful based on his past experience at 17 Live, a live streaming platform. He believes that successful streamers broadcast almost daily. And this was why the VTubers had to stream for at least 2 hours over 20 days, totaling over 40 hours, which is a very hard thing to expect for newbie VTubers starting out. The CEO of Nexus, Harry, also envisions his agency akin to a prestigious university like Harvard, which straight off the bat is a very strange comparison. To emphasize the academia concept, Nexus plans to gather over 100 talents, form a large community. This means they plan on debuting even more talents later on. This isn't good because it doesn't give their VTubers time to grow. You can see the CEO has a liking for the anime My Hero Academia. In fact, he actually managed to get some investors to give him money simply because he mentioned My Hero Academia, but that's a story later on in the video. Harry will go on to say because of how Nexus was set up, individualized support for each person will be less and services are not equal to all. They will only support those who demonstrate a high level of engagement and ambitions. Harry would say, if you want to call it as a favoritism, it might be true in a sense, but please understand that we will do it more systematically. This isn't helping the Battle Royale allegations. What Nexus is saying here is that they have created a high competition environment while telling their VTubers not to expect a stable salary or any supports from the manager unless they perform well. There are so many red flags here. I don't know why they chose to put this out. They're self-reporting here. Harry would choose to share his backstory. Based on his words, he is a mix of Japanese and Taiwanese blood. He spent most of his life in Japan, and from a young age he loves anime, which is good. During his student years, he obsessively aimed to be the best in both academics and sports, believing that excelling in studies and landing a job at a prestigious company was the key to happiness, which he now finds to be ridiculous. Harry experienced a turning point when he entered university in 2015. Harry couldn't help but be irked by influencers who seemed to effortlessly gain fame and fortune through playing games or creating whimsical videos. Harry found it hard to swallow the success of the influencers with a smile, but at the same time he was drawn to the world. He would make random shots on TikToks with friends while managing an Instagram account to introduce beer bars in Tokyo. Eventually, Harry would realize that this wave of personal passion and creativity, content creation, was shaping the future. The CEO of Nexus would go on to join 17 Live, a company running a leading live streaming platform in Japan, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, similar to the mobile version of Twitch. Harry would spend 3 years as an assistant to the CEO of 17 Live, helping support creators as they grew globally. This would inspire Harry to create 4Creators, the company which houses the Nexus VTuber agency. Harry would say the reason why he started a VTuber agency was because it aligned with his interests and strengths. Being a fan of anime and having spent a long time in the streaming industry naturally led him to VTubers. He would say Gachikoi for some reason. After spending about half a year attending anime conventions in the USA and Southeast Asia in 2023 and speaking with VTubers and agencies, his desire to support creators interested in VTubing globally strengthened. This led to the foundation of Nexus. The CEO would go on to say that while nurturing over 10 talents is already a significant challenge, his ambition at Nexus is to become a launchpad for 100 and eventually over 1,000 talents to realize their dreams. I'm just gonna assume he wants to debut 100 VTubers because debuting 1,000 VTubers is just insane. Who would do that? There's no way over 1,000 of them will succeed. A chunk of them will be tossed to the wayside. I'm just gonna assume the best of him and assume he's gonna launch 100 VTubers. I know he's launching them one after the other without concern for whether or not their views are going to be cannibalized, but still, this is insane. There's no way he's gonna launch 1,000 VTubers. That's just beyond cruel. One thing I noticed while going through the Nexus explainers on their website is that the CEO has a boner for My Hero Academia. He's using them as a model for his VTuber talents. And at one point, he even managed to get some investments by pitching My Hero Academia to the investor. By using My Hero Academia on his pitch deck, when he was talking to investors, Harry managed to get investment from someone who invested in Hololive. This is Takahiro Hayashi. He's the CEO at Heroes. He invested in Nexus. And this is what he said when he was explaining why he invested in Harry. When Harry approached me with the vision to create the next generation of heroes / stars like My Hero Academia, I felt a deep connection to my own early days of founding a company, and it inspired me to invest. Leveraging Harry's career experience and innovative technologies, I'm excited to see the challenges that Nexus, a virtual talent, and Vtuber Academia in the North American market will take on. I've been checking out what the CEO of Nexus has been doing on the internet, and I've discovered that Harry has 2 Twitter accounts. The first Twitter account is the English Twitter account, which he has been using to antagonize people criticizing his company, Nexus. Harry has a second Twitter account where he tweets solely in Japanese, and this is what I found on the Japanese Harry account. Apparently, Harry is a depressed Nousagi viewer. This is depressed Nousagi covering the downfall of Vtuber. This is something the CEO of Nexus has shared on Twitter, and he's using Nousagi's video to say, there are far too many cases of Japanese companies trying to enter the global VTuber market falling into disrepair due to poor talent management. We need to realize and unlearn that Japan's talent management methods are not at all global standard. In fact, they are abnormal. What confuses me the most is Harry watches Depressed Nousagi, so he should know that Depressed Nousagi is not cool with how Nexus is being run. A lot of us were looking at the live stream when Nousagi was saying how condescending Harry was when he was trying to antagonize the people criticizing him. I find it bizarre that someone who watches Depressed Nousagi, who's basically one of us, is able to launch Nexus, a VTuber agency that has so much controversy, at their first debut as well. I found another post about My Hero Academia which Harry has made. Harry said, I've recently become obsessed with My Hero Academia. If Harry says he's recently become obsessed around September 2023, that means he's a latecomer to the franchise. Harry would say everyone has a special ability. The era of 100 million creators. UA high school hero course super difficult. Get into a top agency. Gain hero qualifications / trust. You can make money with your skills. And I want to make My Hero Academia. I found another post where Harry is just referencing My Hero Academia again, saying, I've just started interviewing and scouting talent from the US, and I appeal to them with the story that I want to create an agency like the UA school from My Hero Academia, which gets them really excited. So I think anime that transcends language and culture is great.